Okay, so YouTube is getting off to like a really great start because I just did a full ass walking tour of the entire island where I filmed on my Action 5 camera. I'm an idiot and forgot to take it out of the dive case. Like, I am not kidding when I say I just filmed an entire feature film for you guys detailing my entire 8 years in the Maldives, and the audio is shit. So, we're gonna restart, but I've already hit 10K steps and I'm exhausted. So, we're going to be doing this from the comfort of my sofa. Get used to it, guys. My YouTube channel is going to be about fun, happiness, positivity, and my life in the Maldives. So, let's get into it. I think there's no better way to start this YouTube channel than tell you guys how it all began. Roll the tape. Hey guys, and welcome to my official first YouTube video ever. I literally cannot believe I'm filming long form content. I know I can talk a lot and my husband tells me to shut up often. Can you leave me alone? But I thrive on the 3 minutes or less videos, so I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna be quite a challenge. So my goal for this video is to be funny enough to keep your attention span with me for at least 8 to 10 minutes. So let's go. If you're new, my name is Jen Darling. I am a Canadian who has been living in the Maldives for the last 8 years. It is absolutely wild to even say that it has been 8 stinking years living here. It's insane. I feel like I've lived 15,000 different lives here, which I really have, and we're going to get into it, okay? So let's go back to the very beginning. It was July 2017. I was a teacher in Taiwan teaching English as a second language to my wonderful Taiwanese students, and we had summer holiday. At that point, I had already traveled most of the countries in Southeast Asia, so I was like, where can little Jenny Poo go? And I stumbled upon Sri Lanka. And I was like, ooh, curry, vegetables, beaches, elephants. I'm down. I'm so bloody down. So I did a solo trip to Sri Lanka and it was great, but it was also not great. There's no Sri Lanka slander here, but I will say at that time, tourism wasn't like where it is now. And being a solo female traveler just like wasn't the best experience. However, I have since been back to Sri Lanka multiple times and it's amazing. So Sri Lanka is totally great. So I met this really wonderful woman and she was like, why don't you go to the Maldives? And I was like, I'm not a millionaire. I cannot afford these like villas. What are you talking about? And so she explained to me all about local tourism and that this is very new and that you can go to this island called Tinadu. My boyfriend lives there. And she just gave me this whole story. And I was like, this can't be real. And like, I'm not kidding. I like legitimately did my research before I hopped on this plane because I was like, what if this is a scam? What if I'm getting trafficked? Like, this is serious. So I did my research and I, in fact, did get in touch with this hotel in Vavutinadu. And I was like, okay, this is what they talk about in movies. Like, take the jump, do something wild. So I took this random girl's advice that I met in Sri Lanka and I was like, I guess I'm going to the Maldives. And if you're a true North American, you'll call it the Maldives. So I like called my entire family and I was like, guys, I'm going to the Maldives. Like, I got this great opportunity. And they were like, are you rich? And I was like, no. Long story short, I came to the Maldives and I had a wonderful experience. I fell in love with everything about the Maldives. I mean, the people, the culture, the community, the ocean, like the list goes on. And I was a dumb tourist and ended up taking out way too much rupiah. And when I left the country to go back to Taiwan, I had like a few hours in the Hong Kong airport. So I tried to exchange the Maldivian rupiah and the lady looked at me and she was like, the fuck? What is this? And I was like, it's a rupiah. And she was like, yeah, we don't accept this. So when I did the converting, I ended up still having around like 500 Canadian dollars of rupiah. And I was like, I guess we're going back to the Maldives. Damn, we're going back. So I finished my contract up in Taiwan and I did a little bit more traveling before the plan was to move back to Canada, do the 9 to 5, meet my future husband, get an apartment, live downtown Toronto. You know, like the dream that everybody says is a dream that now everybody in 2025 is hating their life about. Thank God I didn't do that. But that didn't really happen. I ended up back here at the end of November of 2017, where I met a really wonderful man by the name of Pico. And this man, what he did to my heart, he stole it. We fell in love. That is literally the story. I fell in love on vacation and he just swooped me in. What a little sneaky bugger he is. Anywho, it is now January 2025. Wild. So I met Pico and I ended up going back home and I told my friends and my family and I was like, listen, I met this guy on vacation. And they were all like, you're dumb. And I was like, I'm not dumb. Like, he is the love of my life. And they were like, Jen, like, that's not real life. You were on holiday. Like, this is just a little fling. Like, you're making a big mistake. And I was like, I promise on my life that I am not making a mistake, because when you know, you know. And I can confidently say that I proved all of them wrong. However, they are now very, very happy for me. So that was just like the reality of what I was dealing with back then. But now life is Gucci. Life is good, guys. So I moved here full time in January of 2018, and we spent the majority of our first few years here in Vavu. We were between Felidu, we were between the island of Tinadu, and we were kind of just doing odd jobs here and there. We managed a guest house. I started doing diving. And, we were just like living the dream. And like back then, when you first moved to the Maldives, like everything was incredible. Everything was peaches and rainbows. I don't understand how like life could have been any better. Like, I was seeing dolphins, the water, the colors, the trees, the weather. Like, I was a princess living out my dreams. Like, everything was hamasatega fansas. Like, everything was perfect, 150% perfect. Life couldn't be better. Yeah, I was just like living the dream. To be honest, this is how I explain it. I was living in La La Land. Like, I didn't know anything really deep about the culture. I was just existing. I was a princess, Canadian princess, living in the most beautiful place on earth that people spend millions of dollars to come and visit. And like, I'm living here. Yeah, it was wild. I miss those times where like everything was just perfect, you know? Anyways, we had very many few ups and downs when I first moved here. Like when you first move to a new country, it's like very overwhelming, so much to learn, especially the Maldives with such a rich culture. And, they are 100% Muslim country here. So everything, there's just like a very strict rule and regiment to how life is here. So that was a very big adjustment coming from Canada. I have said it a million times. I am very lucky that my husband and I have always had 100% support from his family, which honestly made the world of a difference. Like, if you ask expats who are here in the Maldives, like, it's not the same story for everybody. And I am eternally grateful to my in-laws for accepting me with open arms and loving me, because I think that's really what solidified my relationship with Pico, is that we had the support from both sides. Canada and the Maldives is a very stark contrast, and we're just very, very lucky to have that support. And I really believe that that is actually what has really solidified our relationship. So after a few, years of living in La La Land, COVID happened, okay? The bloody COVID pandemic. I was only really here for about 2 full years at that time, and I had to make a really quick decision. What do I do? Because I'm on the other side of the world and the entire world is shutting down. I turn on the news and Justin Trudeau is basically like, Canadians, you have 48 hours to get yourself home. And after that, we're closing our borders. So can you imagine the panic and the fear that I had? And of course, at the same time, I'm living in the Maldives, which relies on tourism. Literally, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to survive here? Like, how is this even going to be possible? And so after, talking with my family and deciding what's best for us, I ended up staying here. And like, looking back on that decision, this was the best thing I could have done, because Canada ended up having like very strict border control over COVID, and the Maldives had strict control, but in terms of freedom, we were very free to do what we want. Like, living on an island during COVID was like pretty much best case scenario, but we survived. We survived the COVID-19 pandemic. Wild times. And I think that after my like La La Land living in paradise, This is really when my eyes started opening up to actually what it means to live in the Maldives. Everything shut down. Okay. This is a country that relies on tourism and fishing. And, tourism is really how most people get their US dollars. And it's just like, it's pivotal to the economic growth and development of this country. So when tourism shut down, I really realized, oh, life is kind of hard here. And, we had supply chain issues, we had financial issues here. And eventually I started to realize, like, actually what it means to live in Maldives. And that was very much an aha moment for me. I started realizing the struggles that Maldivians go through, the difficulties of everyday island life. And that was a moment where I was like, whoa. And I started connecting with the Maldivian culture a lot more and learning, about people's stories. And I realized that, actually life here is a little bit hard and that it's way more than just water villas and beautiful blue ocean, that there's real people that are living here and they have stories and they have struggles, but they're also incredibly beautiful and nice people. So I'm really, in a way, very grateful that I stayed here during COVID because I don't think I would have experienced that if I had gone home. And that has tremendously shaped me into the person that I am today and just how much I love and appreciate the Maldivian culture and the Maldivian people. So, this is where my Maldivian life really takes a turn, okay? We knew that when the borders were going to reopen in the Maldives, that we both never wanted to work in a resort. It just is not the type of people we are. I would feel trapped on an island, and it's just not what I want. So we knew that the most likely the number one island that would reopen quickly and bounce back with jobs and just like overall economically grow the quickest would be an island called Maafushi. So we ended up moving to Maafushi halfway through 2020. And after living here in Vavu for the first 2 years and a half, like I didn't really have many friends. I, didn't really explore much in the country. So I was really excited to live in Maafushi. Like I had friends there. I knew I would have a little bit more freedom. I was closer to Malay. Like there was just going to end up being a lot more flexibility for me. So we moved there. And we got a job almost immediately once the borders reopened. And I would say the first like year and a half were like pretty good in Maafushi. I learned a lot of really great skills and grew my career. And in general, it was pretty good until it wasn't. And listen, I'm not going to get onto my channel and like be all negative and talk about people. And, that's just not who I am. But what I will say is that island has taught me more about who I am and more about what I'm able to do and accomplish in my life than any other experience in my life. It's just not where I want to be. I'm grateful for the time that I spent there. I'm grateful for the lessons that I learned. And boy, were there a lot of lessons that I learned. After, hustling hard in the tourism industry with barely any days off and barely any money, to be honest, we really decided to take a break in 2023 and really focus on ourselves and kind of like figure out what we want in this life as a career and as a married couple. We felt lost. I personally felt like I had wasted 3 years of my life. Apart from the career growth, in terms of like just like personal development and friendships, I definitely wasted 3 years of my life. And that was something that I really had to come to terms with and kind of like learn how to move forward from. So I took the greater portion of 2023 off. I did not work. I went through some therapy to kind of fix some issues that I've had, throughout my life. And my husband was very much supporting me through that. But here's the thing, okay? While we were doing this personal development, we had legally gotten married in August of 2022. We wanted to plan on a later date for a more family-oriented wedding because all my friends and family had to come from Canada. So while we were in this like working on me, bettering myself, doing better for me episode of my life, I was also planning a wedding. Yeah, this was wild, okay? And not only was I only planning a wedding, I had also decided in this moment that like I don't know if Maldives is like the perfect place for me anymore. I don't know if I want to be here. I don't know if I like it here. I don't know if I see a future for myself. Like let's just say 2023 was definitely one of the worst years of my life. I was extremely depressed. Like I don't know how I got myself out of there, but I did. And I'm really proud of myself because life was really, really hard. Like it was bad. This is also the same time where I was like, we got to get a visa for Canada. Like, I need you to come home with me because I'm sick and tired of going home by myself. It's like, if I'm here, I miss my family. If I'm there, I miss Pico. Not only was I in like deep therapy, I was also helping Pico apply for his Canadian visa and planning a wedding. So it was crazy. However, I am a firm believer in timing and opportunities falling into your lap, and leaving Maafushi and experiencing what we had in 2023 was the best thing that ever happened to us. My family arrived in Maldives, I believe it was October 2nd, 2023. And on October 1st, Pico got his Canadian visa. Like, it was insane. It was Pico approved for Canadian visa, family arrives, most incredible week of my life with my family and friends in the Maldives. They leave, we fly to Sri Lanka, pick up his visa, then travel Sri Lanka with some of our friends, come back to the Maldives, pack our bags, hit the road to Canada. And when I tell you, after being in a relationship with someone for 6 years and him finally coming to your home country is an experience that I can't even put into words. It was the most incredible thing that could have happened for our relationship. You know, international relationships are extremely challenging, especially when I come from a country that I can travel to anywhere I want in the world without a visa, and I'm married to someone who doesn't have the same privileges. I really believe that people do not understand what is a passport privilege. Trying to explain to my friends and family why Pico couldn't just like come home was like the most complicated thing that they've ever heard. I'm like, it's because you were born in Canada that you're lucky. Not everybody has those same privileges. So my point is that we had the most amazing time at home. It was incredible. It was everything I could have ever dreamed of. He did so well in the cold. It was so cute. It was so much fun. And that is exactly what we needed to really propel ourselves for a full crazy 2024. Okay? 2024 was the craziest year of my life. The absolute craziest year of my life. Not only did I start like blowing up on TikTok, but we started our business, which is called Jimmy's Excursions. And this has been a dream of my husband and I's forever. He's been in the dive industry since he was like 15 years old, and I've been in the tourism industry since I moved here. So between the two of us, we have a lot of experience. And we were just so tired of working for people. Honestly, like we were exhausted working for people who don't appreciate and who don't value our skills and our time. We decided, let's start our own business. And that is exactly what we did. That has been very challenging, to say the least, but also extremely rewarding. Again, with the international relationship stuff, is that as a married person here in the Maldives, I don't have all the like residential rights. So starting a business with your partner can be very complicated. But we managed it. And if you're looking to do the same thing in the Maldives, get a lawyer. They're very helpful. And really, at that point, the only thing that was missing for us to really feel like concrete and happy in our lives here was finding a place to live. If you are not someone who's familiar with Maldivian culture, it's very common for people of the same family to live under one roof. And there's a few reasons for that. I mean, it's expensive to live here in the Maldives, and it's also just like a land issue. So most of the time you'll see multiple generations living together under one roof. This is very normal. And so that's how we were living for the last, 7 years. With all of this growth in our personal life, and also from me being from Canada, I'm not used to this type of living situation. And although I love my in-laws and I love everything about my family, that was really hard. Like, how was I supposed to start a business and grow on TikTok and like just like be a human when I have like 18,000 children screaming inside of the house at all times? It was just very chaotic. We were like, okay, well, we're starting a business, so let's just do an entire home renovation at the same time. Like, it won't be hard. Like, we can do it. So that's exactly what we did. Bless my husband. He is so patient with me. He's just such a sweetie. We found a land that we were really excited about. We loved the location. We loved everything about it. Like, the physical structure of the house was pretty good. So we were like, let's just do it. And we did a full-blown home renovation, which if you've been following me on TikTok, you would have seen a lot about. And we finally moved in here in October of 2024. And it has literally been life-changing. I didn't realize how badly I needed my own space. I knew I needed it, but until you're in your own space, you really don't understand how badly you needed it. Like, I wake up every single day in this house and I'm beyond grateful for my freedom, for my peace, for my space. I am grateful literally every single day. And I'm just obsessed with my house. Like, I love it. And if you guys are interested in, more of a full kind of explanation of how we built this house, I'm more than happy to do that with you guys. But yeah, I mean, that is really the story of Jen in the Maldives. And I really did not think I would still be here, to be honest. There were moments where I was like, yeah, I've had enough. But here we are. And as much as my life is chaotic and stressful 99% of the time, that 1% that I love so much is so worth it. It is so worth it. So I'm really excited to be starting YouTube. I can't even believe I just spoke into a microphone for like an hour. That's crazy. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see with this channel. Like, do you guys want more like podcasty, like where I sit on my sofa and we talk about things, Q&As, behind the scenes, excursions? Like, what do you guys want to see? Long form content is stressing me out. How do I do this? So please let me know in the comments, guys. And thank you all so much. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I can't even believe I'm saying that. Give this video a like, a thumbs up, like whatever you guys need to do on YouTube to, help a girl out. Please do it. I can't wait to see you next Saturday for my next episode. Thank you so much. Bye.